And welcome to Rune Recaps, Rune Reviews. Today, the day is here. Finally. We are reviewing Marvel's Black Panther. Usually don't do these by myself because it's very hard to do podcasts by yourself. So I had to go to the A-list, call one of my homies up. Kriss, what's good with you, man?
What's going on, people? What's going on, Aaron, man? Thank you very much for having me on to talk this. Hey, man, you know what? Doing solo reviews isn't that bad. You know, you got to start doing video reviews.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to see my ugly mug, but
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying that's the way to do. That's the only way to do. Because when you do solo reviews on audio, it just feels weird. At least when you're doing them on video, you're looking at a camera.
Yeah,
so you're looking at something. So
is,
yeah,
that is
I feel
true.
you. Yo.
That is true. Like I be sitting there talking into the mic, and nobody else is looking at you. Like, it's kind of awkward. Anyway, Kriss from Movie Trailer Reviews. Kriss, if you could tell them about your podcast and your podcast network.
Yeah, so we run the MTR network, and one of those for our movie reviews, we do the Movie Trailer Reviews podcast. You get that on Stitcher, iTunes, Google. You can also get us on YouTube, youtube.com/MTR network. And yeah, we do a bunch of reviews. So we'll have our review of Black Panther coming out soon this week. And but the big thing I'm actually doing, I'm not saying that Black Panther is big, Phenom and I, we are discussing all the Oscar movies coming out.
Yeah.
So we have So if you want to hear us talk about the different movies, different categories, best actors, I think the one we're doing tomorrow is best actor and best supporting actor, and who's what the performances are and things like that. And so that's one of the latest shows we're going to have on there. So it's really fun. So check us out.
Yeah, and I messed up the branding. It's MTR Network. I'm used to the old school ways.
oh, bro, listen. When people do different things depending on what the show is. So like when we're talking movies. So when people say the Movie Trailer Reviews podcast, you're technically not wrong because that is the podcast. Like
right.
we're the network, but like the podcast for movie reviews is Movie Trailer Reviews. So you were not wrong.
I would
you did it right.
That's just old school training right there. I'm used to old school movie trailer reviews. So let's get into it, man. Black Panther. Let's get into the synopsis. T'Challa, excuse me, black card taken away immediately. After the death of his father, the king of Wakanda returns home to the isolated, technologically advanced African nation to succeed to the throne and take his rightful place as king. The reason I like reading these is because they're never they never are right. Like this is the most base borderline thing you could say about this movie. Like it's like this is the first 5 minutes of this movie. So don't think that any of these things are gonna spoil you. We got hell of a cast. Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan in a star turn as Eric Killmonger, Lupita Nyong'o as Naki, I'm sorry. Denai Guerrera as how do you say that? Is it Okoye?
Yeah, Okoye.
Okoye. Martin Freeman as Everett K. Ross, Daniel Kaluuya as W'Kabi, Letitia Wright as Shuri, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Sterling K. Brown as Redacted. I want y'all to find that out for yourself. Angela Bassett as Ramonda, and Forrest Whitaker as Zuri.
Listen, because I said this in my review, and then I think Nina from Project Fandom said the exact same thing on Facebook. This cast is so stacked. I forgot Sterling K. Brown was in this film until he shows up, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Right?
They did actually have Sterling K. Brown in this film.
Yeah, it's really the most savage cast that you can have for a Marvel movie. Like if you really think about who's in this movie, it's insane. Like it's literally insane.
Well, it's not only is it insane, but outside of, you have big names like, Chadwick Boseman at this point is a big name. Michael B. Jordan's a big name. But when you think about it, nobody really knew those names 5 years
Right.
ago.
Right.
And when we were talking, when people talk about casting for Black Panther, it would always be like, oh, get Michael J. White, or get like, it was always like the same 2 or 3 names people would have or who they want in a Black Panther film. So to see this cast and see the wide range of actors and actresses they got, like, it kind of shows you, it's like, hey, listen, motherfuckers, there are more than 2 black people in Hollywood.
Yeah,
you know,
they are not playing around at all, and they're not even being fair. Like, think about this: I left off Andy Serkis. Like, I just didn't mention that he was in this movie.
It's okay to leave the white people off this because they're only. Well, it is and it isn't, because one is they're like they don't. They do matter because they're in the film, but
I get what you're saying.
They're the only 2 white people in this film that have speaking roles.
And you know what? The speaking role, like, I think Andy Serkis probably only had about 40 lines.
I think you're going a little bit higher.
Yeah,
you probably did. Yeah, because like, it's like, seriously, I watched it again for the second time and was like, wait a minute, I think. Though they really, like, even like the background characters don't speak. Like, they, you know what it is? I figured it out. They treated the white characters in this film like black characters normally get treated.
Where they're background, but they're not actually in the movie.
Right.
So
they don't get a lot of speaking roles. They don't get full development. You know.
Right. So this movie, let's start with the plot. I'll start with you, Kriss. What did you think of the overall plot of the movie?
So the overall story, I think, is really good and really tight, because, you know, I did a video on like the history of Black Panther in the comics, and what Ryan Coogler did, and I want to say is Joe Robert Cole is the other writer on this film. What they did was they basically took like all 3 eras, the Jack Kirby and Stan Lee era, the Christopher Priest era, Hudlin and Coates, and they kind of took pieces of those, but then also made a story that was very modern, and not just modern like modern times, but modern in the way of it takes like the black experience. Because I don't think that, like, T'Challa and Black Panther is an African nation, and sometimes it can kind of feel kind of separated from the black experience a little bit.
Yeah,
even though he's black.
Absolutely.
They made a story that integrates it all. Right. So it's all connected, and it's a great story. The characters are great. You get the idea of T'Challa, you know, struggling to be a king and having to make some decisions and having to deal with the decisions his father made. Like, it's pretty dope.
And what I'll say about the plot of the story and the story in general is that it moves. Like, it's not any particular section that lingers too long. And I find with Marvel movies especially, there's always at least 1 or 2 scenes that's like maybe just a tad bit too long. And in this movie, the once it gets going, the clip at which it moves is fantastic. Also, got to give a shout out, and I know this really ain't about the plot, but I guess we can get into it. The city of Wakanda itself is a part of the plot. I know people have said that before, but we've never seen world building like this in a Marvel movie. I fully expect that Wakanda is going to be a central location for years to come, because of what the world building that they did in this movie. What about you, Kriss? What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we already know it's going to be an Infinity War,
right?
But again, it goes back to they made a point. There were several times when I'm watching this film, they made a point to show you not just what, you know, T'Challa and his family look like when they're, you know, doing, you know, things of running the country, but him walking through the streets and you seeing everyday life of people in Wakanda and seeing the city. Like, I think towards the end of the movie, there's a scene where there's a couple little kids running around with little book bags on, you know, and you get this nice little blend of modern versus also tribal, and it's very, yeah, the world building on that and the world they created there. I remember when it wasn't Feige, it was somebody else said when people were asking about them doing a movie for Black Panther. It was years ago. It was like before 2011 or something like that. And they were like, well, it's kind of doing Wakanda is kind of hard, and and people were like, oh, but you did Asgard. I'm like, when you see this film and you look at what they did with Asgard, and then you look at what they did with Wakanda, you will totally understand why they could not do this film 10 years ago.
Exactly. That it's something that always bothered me about that, because a lot of people have been calling for this movie for years and years. We got the movie we deserved, and we got it at the time we deserved it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this movie, if this movie had come out 3 years ago, it wouldn't have had the same impact that I think it'll have today. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it definitely wouldn't have had the impact, but it would not look like it does right now, at all.
Right.
Like, the technology wasn't there.
Right. So, the story is amazing. So I want to get into the impact of the story on the MCU before we get into characters. What do you think the overall impact is of the story on the MCU? Because it's fair. Like, let's be completely honest, it's fairly self-contained. And I was expecting to see some things pop up that didn't pop up, which shocked me. And some things that y'all fan theories are just out the window. Throw them all away. So what did you think about the impact of Black Panther in the overall bigger Marvel universe?
Well, I think it will have impact. Like you said, the film, and I think they did this on purpose. They made it really self-contained.
Yeah.
In a way, kind of like Winter Soldier is self-contained. Because if you think about Winter Soldier, even though Winter Soldier is self-contained, but then it has a larger impact on, the rest of the Marvel universe. I think that's the same thing that'll happen with Black Panther, just because. And this isn't a spoiler. Anybody know? You kind of figured this out when you watch Civil War, and they go into more detail in this film that I won't give. But they kind of explain that even though we saw Wakanda and we saw T'Chaka die in in Civil War, the world still doesn't know what Wakanda can do. They still don't know it's a technologically advanced nation. They even, and I was wondering about that because you see in the trailer, Ross going, "What are you hiding there?" And I'm like, well, you were in Civil War. You saw this motherfucker running around with a cat suit on, like with a right break. And then they kind of explain, and you're like, oh, okay. So the world really doesn't know about Wakanda. So I think that the impact will be, as you go forward with Wakanda and whether they come out or not, that'll be the impact and what they can do. And I think that's, I'm trying to dip around the thing you've seen.
Hard.
You know what I'm saying?
It's hard.
Because without going into spoilers, but I think that'll be the impact of Wakanda, because there's a lot of stuff dealt with in this movie that showed you just how much more advanced Wakanda is than the rest of the world. So, the impact will be, if they come out.
Well, you know what's funny about that? It kind of genius in a way. It's seeding a world in which now they can have an excuse to have flying cars in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have an excuse to have all this higher technology in the overall world because Wakanda now can introduce it to them. And now that leads to bigger storylines and bigger things that they couldn't do before, man. So I definitely want to give them a slow clap for that. I think it was genius.
I mean, if you think about it too, it's like this is the way. We'll have to have a serious conversation at some point about how the Phase 3 of Marvel of the MCU has changed the game.
Yeah,
because Phase 3 is damn near flawless at this point, and what they've been able to do with it, and the risks they've taken, and the things they've changed and done. Shit. I mean, we can talk about it now. Like, they destroyed Asgard.
Yeah, that's it. There's no more Asgard.
And I have a feeling that them people ain't gonna all of them Asgardians ain't gonna make it to Earth because Thanos and them
Right.
It's going to wipe them out in Infinity War. So it's like there's a lot of stuff they're doing there, and God forbid if they go with the theory we have about them using, Thanos using a reality gem in Infinity War. Like, there's so much they can do, and they can wipe out and change a lot of things. And at this point, once you've gone down this path of comic booky, you can't really go back.
No.
So, and especially with this film, like, they spent a lot of fucking money on this film, and you can tell, and you just can't go back from this.
Yeah, it's absolutely no way that the world can go back to Iron Man 1. Like, it's impossible. Especially with some of the, I keep saying it, but some of the technology that they introduced is smart. It also allows people. Okay, I can't do that. But it's so hard to talk about this movie without going around spoilers.
Yeah.
Let's just say that there's ways for people that have injuries to be healed. So, like that type of stuff that is only in comic books, where in one panel they're hurt and then they throw them something, and then the next panel they full speed again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think that's not even. I don't think that's a spoiler, because I remember. In Civil War they dropped Bucky off there, so it's like
that is true.
They need to have somebody call up. Listen, Rhodey, you need to call up. You need to call up T'Challa.
Get back in action.
let's call you up. We see he was in the trailer, so like maybe he does get that Wakanda healing or something. He gets a Bucky treatment.
But you see, what's crazy is what's wild about this is that the other Avengers still don't know. The only one that knows is Cap. The rest of the Avengers still don't know how crazy it is in Wakanda. So, but yeah, man, let's actually get into the meat of this, which to me is the amazing acting throughout this movie. And the overall blackness of this movie. I was talking to my co-host. None of them have seen it yet, obviously. So I'm going to say something. Y'all can judge me if y'all want. Like, there was a moment I got like kind of emotional in the movie, because I was just like, the overwhelming blackness on that screen, it was almost too much at a time. Like, it was like, I can't believe that this budget with this cast and the care that they're taking with this movie came to fruition, and it worked out. What about you? What do you think?
No, absolutely. And like I said, they do a good job of connecting the story to the struggles of African Americans.
Right. Yes.
And so, like, it's really hard not to get overwhelmed by the blackness, the message, and what's going on in this film, because it resonates with you. It makes sense. And yeah, and the other thing too is you get different types of blackness, particularly with the female characters. Like, they're all absolutely different. They all get fully formed characters. Perfectly honest, Denaya and Shuri they don't get as much screen time as, obviously as Chadwick, and they might get as much as Michael B. Jordan, though.
No, they get more than Michael B. Jordan, and I'll tell you that. Because Michael B. Jordan, as good as he was, is not in this movie a lot.
Yeah, and so and again, like, when he is in there, it's great. But it's like it's just like, so you get like all this stuff, and they did a really, like, again, it's a really good, going back to what Ryan Coogler's done. It's a really good pacing, and it's really well put together, so it all makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of T'Challa, like, I think that was one of the genius things they did, is focus on the world and his surrounding cast, because we've already been introduced to him. So we already know that he can kick ass, right? So the main thing that we're worried about is, how does he interact with the people around him, with his surrounding cast? And they focus. This movie should have been called Black Women. It shouldn't have been called Black Panther, because the black women in this movie are on another level. Like, I cannot wait to go to the movie theater and see what just a theater full of black folks, and have all the black women losing they shit every time the Dora Milaje theme song comes on. Like, I want that theme song as my ringtone. So
yeah, it's And again, it's the way they interact with each other, the way they interact with the world, the way like something that I noticed too is when you look at in this film, the main people giving T'Challa any kind of advice are all women.
Right.
You know, from Okoye, who's the general of the Dora Milaje, you have his sister, who's basically running, Wakanda's technology center and science. You know, his mother.
Yeah.
And I haven't figured out if they make it like stepmother or mother.
Yeah,
I don't think they haven't really addressed it. I think they might have just made it the mother.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they just made it the mother because I was wondering that too.
Yeah, I think they just made her just straight up her mother.
Which
to
is
Nakia, like they all give him different kinds of advice, and it's different. And again, it's not just about giving him advice, giving each other advice. They interact. They have their own feelings. Like it's all really really well done. In building the world around T'Challa and T'Challa himself.
Yeah, I mean, and so for me. Like I said before, the standout characters are obviously the Dora Milaje. But honestly, the person that stole the show for me, and everybody talks about Michael B. Jordan's role, which, by the way, best Marvel villain we've ever had. Like, and I can say that off one viewing. I'll see it again on Friday and Saturday. But I can say so far, he was the best. Best reasoning, best motivation, best well acted. I was wondering how they were going to do the Killmonger character since he did use, originally he came from Wakanda. What they did with it makes a lot of sense. And serves the story very well.
Absolutely.
But like I was saying, is Denai Guerrera, she stole the show, dog. Every time she was on screen, and for instance, every action scene, Black Panther wasn't the star. I was just waiting to see Denai again. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was a standout to you that you didn't expect?
So here's the thing. Because of the way they put him in front of us all the time, I knew all the female characters have been great. Mm-hmm. The one character, and I said this in my review, that stood out to me because they kind of didn't put him there, and he actually does play. He doesn't have a lot of role in this film, but it is a pretty significant role. Winston Duke as
oh my god, yes,
as M'Baku is great because he's actually, he as the film goes on, he actually becomes pretty funny.
Yes,
and it's done so good. It's just the way he lands his lines and it being funny, because you're like, is he serious or is he not being serious? I can't tell. And then it's just he's very very good, and like that stood out to me. The only downside is I do wish they had put him in the actual costume, because I know why you can't. I know why you can't do it. I know why they can't do it. But the film is, to me, the film is black enough
to where
you got right. And you got you got a black.
Explain to the people who don't know about who
Man Ape
is.
So M'Baku is Man Ape, and he's the leader of the White Gorilla cult, and he gets his powers by eating the flesh of and bathing in the blood of a white gorilla, and he wears the fur, the head of the white gorilla on him. So that's what his costume is made out of. This, so it's this big black man in this ape costume,
in the gorilla costume,
right? In a gorilla costume, and I understand why it can't be done, but at the same time, I wanted them to do it.
I bet Kevin Feige was at the board pulling up names of people and was like, okay, first of all, this got to go. This right here got to go. Because they did change a lot of the, not problematic stuff, but a lot of the stuff that could have been seen as problematic.
No, you're right. They changed the problematic stuff. No, your first words were absolutely correct. They were changing the problematic stuff. They did.
Which, I appreciate. You can't have, you just can't. You can't have a man walking around.
You can't do that. They changed Nakia's whole thing because in the comics, in the comics, both her and Okoye, they were the first two Dora Milaje ever. They were in the Prisoner Feast run, but they were two 16-year-old girls.
Right. Yeah, and then he kiss one of them.
Well, he didn't sleep with him. What happened was he had gotten drugged, and he thought he was kissing Monica Lynn, but it was actually kissing the kid in the back of his car. So it gets very, very creepy, and she starts falling in love. It's very, very creepy. So they just changed all that, and so but they changed it for the better, and it works. They made Okoye the general. They made Nakia. She's actually not a Dora. She's a spy. One of their. She's not technically a war dog, I don't think.
I think she might be a war dog, though.
They might have called,
yeah, because they called her that in the movie.
Yeah, so she is a war. So it's like they changed the characters around, but like it still keeps a core because they are constantly by T'Challa's side and they're constantly giving him advice, and that's the key part right there. So
absolutely, yeah. Who else? Who do we not talk about? Oh, Shuri. We didn't talk about Shuri.
Oh, absolutely, it's great. Letitia Wright is amazing. She's like, she has some really great funny moments. And what was great about her is, again, the way that they were able to take their female characters and all have them be different. She's the younger sister of T'Challa. She is smarter than him.
Well, then she's way smarter than T'Challa.
She's probably smarter than the smartest. I think they even said the smartest person in the Marvel universe.
That's what Kevin Feige said.
Yeah, so like they done that, but then she's also she's a young, girl, and so she always joking her brother. She's playing practical jokes, and like she's just very laid back. It's not something you would expect from the princess, and like it's very well done. Yeah. Like my favorite scene in the movie, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is what I call the Bond meets Q scene.
Oh, nigga.
So if you ever watch the James Bond movie, there's always a scene where James Bond goes to visit Q and to get his new weapons, to get his new car and things like that. And you have that scene with T'Challa in here, but he's dealing with his sister, showing him all the new things they developed for him in their science department, and it's a hilarious scene, and it's great.
Yeah, and I mean, overall, just like I said before, even Sterling K. Brown's role and the monologue he gives is, hey, that's when that single tear came out. I was like, you right.
Is the conversation with, like, when you have that can't go into don't want to give spoilers, but there's a conversation he has with another one of the characters, and it's just really, really well done. It's really well shot. The way they shoot it. And really,
and that's one of the things they kind of, once you know what it is, that they kind of changed that from the comic, which is another thing that was like, oh, okay, I could see that happening. That's all right. But just overall, man, like I said, stellar cast. Andy Serkis is a great villain as well. Let's not forget about him.
I love that they let him be his Australian voice. And it'd be just go full, like they let Andy Serkis had a lot of fucking fun.
Hey, he looked like he had a ball on this movie.
Yeah.
So,
and I do kind of wonder if he has a mixtape.
And
when you see the film, you understand why I say that. And I do want the SoundCloud.
Yes, I definitely want the SoundCloud ASAP. But I mean, overall, like I said, I want to talk about finally what do you think happens next, man? Where do we go from here in the MCU? I don't want to talk about Black Panther 2 because obviously that's a while away. By the way, guys, there will be a Black Panther 2.
Oh yeah. There was an interview, and somebody asked, "So would you want to talk sequel? And would you want to bring?" No, somebody asked Kevin Feige about that in an interview. He was like, "We definitely would like to do a sequel. Would you like to have Ryan Coogler? We definitely would like to have Ryan Coogler back if he wants to be back." Like Feige's not fucking around. Like, they know that they're like, "Oh no! And we can bring this entire crew back. We're bringing this entire crew back." Hey. They're not. Again, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at an article right now that got posted. Black Panther has the highest grossing opening day in UK and Irish box office. Like, this movie's still going to make so much.
Dog, they have no fucking idea. So, full disclosure, I'm sure the people that listen to these reviews are people that give us the reviews. So, very careful with my words. But there were some people, there were some critics in the row that just did not get it. Like, they did not understand, like, oh, it's going to make a little bit of money. And I'm sitting there the whole time at the end of the row like, these motherfuckers have zero idea how much money this is going to make. Like, zero. Like, I feel, the tracking is 165 right now?
Yeah, 165. Yeah,
it's
between 150 and 175.
It's gonna hit 200.
Well, the other thing, I think the thing too is like we forget this is a 4-day weekend.
Yes.
So I think 200 is definitely like 3-day weekend. It still might have done it in 3 days, but a 4-day weekend, I think that 200 number is not that far off. It could do it because.
Can you imagine if they put up Star Wars numbers for Black Panther, dog? Can you imagine?
So here's the thing. If it puts up Star Wars numbers for Black Panther, it puts Disney is fine because Disney has been the studio that understands. They still need to work on some things. I'm not saying they're perfect.
Yeah.
But this is the one studio that's understood that, hey, maybe we put money behind Black people, Asian people, Latino people, women. Maybe we make more money. And they found out that they actually can, in fact, make a shit ton of money doing that.
Exactly.
No other studio has figured that out. And so once Black Panther makes this fucking money, what you're gonna see two things. One, you're gonna see a bunch of studios try to scramble and replicate it, and because they're not gonna be genuine, not understand how they made that money, they're gonna fail. And two, you're gonna see that the bar can't be lowered anymore.
Oh no,
because
game
like
changer.
you're no longer like it's like what I was saying when Wonder Woman came out. We were like, hey, where's the Wonder Woman promotion? Everybody's like, oh no, it's fine. We were like, no. It's not fine. This is not normal. This is not normal. And people try to make excuses. Well, then you see what Marvel did with Black Panther. And you're like, see, this is what I was talking about. If they had done this for Wonder Woman, it would have been a totally, totally different game.
Absolutely.
And now that Black Panther, Marvel's done with Black Panther, like you cannot go onto Facebook right now and not see something being sold with Black Panther. I don't even mean like the bootleg shit, like first of all, never buy those bootleg ass shirts.
Did you see the one with the black lion? Did you see the
shit? Don't. Well, actually, so the funny thing about the Black Lion one is that is actually a cover.
You lying?
So that is the Midtown.
Oh, that's one of those Midtown covers.
It's the Midtown.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
and
makes sense.
I have it because I thought it was dope. But I did go, why is there a lion there? They made it so. But anyway, yeah, don't buy them other, like I'm talking about like the ones that have the memes and have like Chadwick Boseman wearing, like don't buy those. Those are they never look as good as those pictures
ever.
But I'm talking about like actual like
oh yeah, I didn't see
real like Marvel or a legit like company like somebody putting out like there's been like 3 or 4 different shoes. Like their video games, like there has been so much stuff with Black Panther, just on Facebook, not going anywhere, just on Facebook. It is absurd.
It is,
and
it's marketing though. Like that's what you call marketing. Like when
I think this is marketed more than any other movie they've done
ever. Yeah, I don't remember this for Civil War. I don't remember this for Iron Man 3. Like this is. Even Thor, like they didn't push Thor as hard as this. Like this has been nonstop Black Panther time everywhere for like the last 2 weeks.
Nope. And again, this is what it makes you emotional because you've never seen anything like this.
Well, and
for any film that doesn't star a white male character, you've never seen this kind. You've never seen a studio go all in, and that's exactly what they did. They went all in on this. They're like, listen, we gave this film like a budget more than any other film we had last year. I'm pretty sure that they don't want to say it, but I'm pretty sure the budget of this film was $200 million.
Oh, you can see, you would be able to see every bit of it.
Right. Because it's just like, there's certain like just basic things that in this film that look like they cost a lot of fucking money.
Yo, there are landscape scenes. Landscape shots that cost bread, like cost a lot of money.
Yeah, you got ships, you got weapons, you got all like there's just a lot of shit going on in this film. Like there's something that happens with some of the because again, like when you see Wakanda, you see these people in these tribal outfits, but you got to remember this is Wakanda, so they got some kind of like high tech shit on them. And when you see it, like I remember when it happened last night when I'd already seen it, but somebody else. There's the first time I'm watching. The audience watch it for the first time, and certain things happen. Like, oh shit, they can do that. Like it's just there's so much stuff in here. So they got a $200 million budget, and you've done all this stuff. Like Marvel's gone all in. They've decided that listen, we're either gonna burn out and flop terribly, or we're gonna bet on black. We're gonna bet on black, and we're gonna bet that this shit goes right. And so far, from what I'm seeing, they're gonna win that bet in spades because they're gonna make so much money this over weekend. They're pretty much have no competition until the first weekend for the next 2-3 weeks.
Nothing
until the beginning of March.
Nigga, nothing comes out. Nothing.
And I'll be honest. And then when it comes into March, is competition is a sister Disney film is A Wrinkle in Time,
which
so
you're
going to end up getting A Wrinkle in Time, right? So you're going to end up getting A Wrinkle in Time and Black Panther being 1 and 2 that opening weekend. Like they knew what they were doing. Oh, and then by the way, Wakanda's in Infinity War.
Oh
so
yeah, don't forget that even though this movie is standalone, we're gonna get all those people that just came for Black Panther. Y'all want to see Infinity War?
Yeah, you want to see more Wakanda?
We got some of that Wakanda.
Yeah, you want some more of that Black Panther? We got that shit. It's just like, it's here's the thing. You know what you were talking about? Where I see this going forward, and they could really do this. Depending on what happens in Infinity War, and we know that some of the original Avengers are coming, Avenger cast are coming up on their end of their contracts. Hey, you get Chris Evans done, wants to move on, take a break or whatever. You can now put lead with T'Challa.
Yep, and that's what they've been positioning as, though.
You can do that. You can lead with some of these other characters and bring in new characters, things like that. So yeah,
you got a base for a Young Avengers movie. You got Shuri, you got Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Who else we got to introduce to get to a Young Avengers movie? Not that many people.
You know I mean you can do anything. You can basically do anything, and so like yeah, I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with this.
For me, what I think this is what's going to happen with the Marvel Universe, and then we'll wrap it up. I really think that this is, like you said, Chris, this is the beginning of, how they've been putting other characters in their movies and not like saying anything. It's just happenstance. Like, oh, here you go. Doctor Strange is his movie. Just because he's a part of the world, and this is where I will go. I think the movies are going to go more towards that, where we don't have numbered sequels per se, or we don't have sequels at all, but we just have character-driven movies. And if that's the next phase, not including whatever they're gonna do with the X-Men, I'm all in for it. And obviously, I know the X-Men is years away. Don't get your hopes up, guys. I haven't talked about this on the room. Don't get your hopes up. I don't want no X-Men movie for at least 5 years, because they got to build this world up first. So. But yeah, man, this has been one of the best. It's been the best movie of the year so far for me. And I'm not saying that because there's a bias there. No other movie this year has gotten me this emotional and been this well shot and this well acted, and the action scenes, which we didn't even talk about. Y'all just got to go see the action scenes, specifically the casino scene and Okoye. What she does in that casino scene, nigga. Whew. Fantastic. So we rate this out of 5 around here. So what would you rate this, Chris?
I was a 5.
Yeah.
I mean, hands down. I mean, it's yeah.
Yeah, this is by far, and so I don't really care for ranking the Marvel movies, but y'all want us to rank them every time. This just got jumped up to my favorite Marvel movie of all time. Like, and it's not even close. It's actually the best acted, and it's well shot. And it's a different world. It's nothing you've ever seen from Marvel. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I hate ranking them too, because people always go, well, I always love this one. Well, is it better than Winter Soldier? Because Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie to me, and I'm like, well, it's not the best one to me, so I can't even rank. So it's like, what do you want me to say?
Right.
Like, and again, I love Winter Soldier. I think it's great, but it's like, I think Civil War is better because Civil War is even more of that shit. It's
right.
So it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, right now it's definitely my favorite because it's black is what we've gotten. So yeah, I bet on black. I root for everybody who's black.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. This is definitely one of those things where, yeah, they're batting 1,000 right now. Like, every Marvel film, every MCU film last year made over $800 million.
And I don't think this is going to stray from that
Nope.
whatsoever.
At the very least, it's going to make that too. So, like, yeah.
Our Lord and Savior, Kevin Feige, thank you so much for making Black Panther. Because Kevin Feige ain't missed you. This run, and I know I said I was going to get out here. I just want to say one more thing. This run is unprecedented. Like, have you ever seen a movie studio with this many hits? Like, not just one or two in a year. I'm talking about back to back to back to back to back. I don't think we've ever seen it.
No, and I will say this, that I wouldn't call it cheating, but like, because this is all Marvel Studios stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Marvel Studios' only job is, my only job is to make hits. Like, it really is. Their only job is to make Marvel movies. So their whole entire setup is built that way, and I think that you might start seeing other studios try to figure out how to do that method. Because if you think about what Disney has done, that's why Disney has made so much money, because they let their individual studios make the movies that they always make.
Right.
So Pixar makes Pixar movies, which, by the way, Incredibles 2 is going to come out and
make a shit ton of money.
Right. It's going to hit $1 billion too. Marvel Studios, they only make these Marvel movies. Lucasfilms, they only make Star Wars films. And so when you have a studio and they only make one thing, and they don't have to, like, if you're 20th Century Fox, yeah, you make Deadpool, but then you also make a bunch of other shit that people might not want to watch. And so you feel this pressure to kind of do all this other stuff. But with Marvel, it's like, we don't have no pressure. It's like, we can do, hey, do we want to do 2 movies a year? Oh, let's just do 1. Oh, let's do 3. We can do 3 movies a year. Like, that's, if you think about it, that's what Marvel Studios do. They only do 3. At most, they do 3 movies a year. Like,
but I mean, you can say that, and I will agree with you on that. And I will just add on, what I think is that the amount of movies they make doesn't really matter, because if you gave Fox and you gave them the same lineup, they wouldn't be able to do what Kevin Feige and Marvel has done at all.
No, you still need a plan. You still need and the reason why this has worked so well for them, because they have a plan. So you still need the plan. If you don't have a plan, then you're never gonna get this to work, right? But
you definitely need a real nerd that's also a real movie nerd. Like, people always forget, Kevin Feige is a movie guy. He ain't just a nerd, which, by the way, he is an ultra nerd. Nobody pulls out Infinity War, the omnibus, without being a nerd. But he also worked on all those X-Men movies. He watched and learned. And I don't think anybody else right now has that in them as far as studio wise. So
no, you need to have both. You need to be a nerd, but you also need to know how to make a fucking movie.
Right. And
the problem is that it seems like they always pick one. You can either be a nerd or you know how to make movies. You can't be both. And what a lot of these studios need is they need somebody who can do both.
Exactly.
Get you an executive producer, get you a president that can do both. Like, that's what you need.
Exactly. So I just wanted to wrap up, say thank you, Kriss, for being on, as always much in the clutch. I wanted to announce a couple of things before I let you wrap it up. First off, this is the first of 3 Black Panther reviews we will be doing. We're going to do another spoiler review for our Patreon patrons, which I didn't mention, but thank you all to the Patreon patrons. And also, we're going to do a all-star review, which the lineup I have for this all-star review is intense. D-Palm just confirmed. So it'll be me, D-Palm, Rod, Justin from 3/5, and I'm working on some other people. So it's gonna be a ball, man. So can't wait for y'all to hear it. Kriss, thank you so much. Where can I find you at, man?
You can find me at MTR Network. You can get all of our shows there, or you can go because I know I did my solo video review of Black Panther is up on YouTube, youtube.com/MTR Network. So,
by the way, go subscribe to their YouTube channel. It's where I get a lot of my comic book stuff from. I don't read as much as I used to, and I still like to keep up. And Kriss and D-Palm hold it down and then examine these characters in a way I didn't do as a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate some of the characters and the way they examine them. So definitely go check
Yeah,
them
we
out.
got. I think we were supposed to record it tonight, but I was too tired, so we're gonna do it on Monday. We got Sinister and Apocalypse coming up next, so
Hey,
it'll be fun.
what part of Doom are y'all on? Did y'all finish Doom?
Oh no, yeah, we did Doom. Doom was like a year
Was it
ago.
Which one
Like a
did y'all
couple years
just
ago.
start? No, this is a two
No, I
parter.
know what I did. I put it up on.
Oh, you
I
did.
put the first part back because
You
we
did.
just started putting some of our old stuff back onto YouTube.
Yeah.
So I realized I never put Doom on YouTube. So I put Doom Part 1 on YouTube.
I thought y'all were redoing it because Doom. You could
Oh
do
no,
another. You could do another
I'm
one.
not redoing.
You could do another one on Doom if you want, man.
Yeah, I mean, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a comic book club on some Fantastic Four stuff. So that'll be fun. That'll definitely include some Doom stuff. So
yeah, man. Like I said, check us all out. Support everybody that supports us. And until next time, y'all. Peace.
peace.